Have you ever wondered why certain people in your life seem to drain your energy, leaving you tired and powerless? At 50 years old or older, we often believe we know enough about the people around us. But what if someone close to you is subtly manipulating your emotions without you even realizing it? These individuals are in constant pursuit of absolute control, and the worst part, they often disguise themselves as caregivers. In this video, I will reveal how a narcissist might be influencing your choices, causing doubts, and even complicating your family relationships. Knowing how to identify these signs can help you protect your peace and maintain a more balanced emotional life, especially in a phase where we deserve more tranquility and security. And what about when your own sanity is questioned? This psychological manipulation, known as gaslighting, can make you doubt yourself. Have you ever felt pressured to give in to avoid conflict, or always trying to please someone who never seems satisfied? Perhaps it's time to understand how these behaviors might be affecting your emotional health and well-being. Stay with me, because what I'm about to share could transform your relationships and restore the serenity you deserve. Definition and characteristics of narcissism. When we talk about narcissism, many might think of someone who admires themselves excessively or simply believes they are beautiful. However, narcissism is far more complex than that. It is a personality trait that involves an intense need for control and validation, as well as a notable lack of empathy for others. A narcissist often positions themselves in a place of superiority, constantly seeking attention and recognition. This insatiable quest for praise becomes a pattern that often infiltrates their daily interactions, leading to manipulative and harmful behaviors. Narcissists have the ability to transform everyday situations into scenarios that revolve around them. They are masters of talking about themselves while the needs and feelings of others take a back seat. This lack of empathy manifests in an inability to recognize or validate the feelings of others. For example, if a friend is going through a tough time, a narcissist may divert the conversation to their own experiences, as if the other person's pain is of no importance. This dynamic can create an emotionally toxic environment where others feel devalued and invisible. Recognizing narcissistic traits is essential for protecting our relationships. If we are not attentive, we may find ourselves trapped in a cycle of manipulation and devaluation. The ability to identify narcissistic behaviors can serve as a warning sign. Often, these individuals may seem charismatic and charming at first, but over time, their harmful characteristics become more evident. Knowledge about narcissism not only helps us better cope with these people, but also provides us with the tools to establish healthy boundaries. It is common for people to feel confused and guilty upon noticing these traits. Many times, narcissists make others believe they are the problems in their own lives. This emotional manipulation can be subtle, but its consequences are profound. Therefore, it is essential that we learn to identify these patterns, not only for our own sake, but also for the well-being of those around us. After all, a healthy environment requires that all members of the relationship feel respected and valued. Thus, when discussing the main traits of narcissism, we must keep in mind that understanding is the first step toward change. Recognizing and naming these characteristics can be liberating. By becoming more aware of narcissism, we can establish healthier and more balanced relationships where empathy and mutual respect prevail. The impact that a narcissist can have on personal relationships is profound and often devastating. When we are involved with someone who exhibits these traits, we may feel emotionally drained, as if our energy is being constantly sucked away. Narcissism affects not only the relationship itself, but also the mental and emotional health of those who coexist with it. Many people find themselves feeling isolated, dependent, or even with alarmingly low self-esteem, all as a result of the dysfunctional dynamic created by a narcissist. The feeling of isolation is particularly heightened in relationships marked by narcissism. This occurs because the narcissist tends to control not only the interactions, but also the social networks of those around them. Friends and family may be devalued or even distanced as the narcissist seeks to eliminate any external influence that could question their authority or control. This isolation can be devastating, especially for those who already struggle to establish emotional connections. Loneliness becomes a constant companion, and emotional dependence on the relationship turns into a vicious cycle. For those over 50, the consequences of narcissism can be even more intense. Often, these individuals have faced various losses and challenges throughout their lives, and the presence of a narcissist can amplify feelings of helplessness. Self-esteem, which may already be shaken by past experiences, is further affected. They may feel incapable of valuing themselves or seeing themselves as worthy of love and respect. This emotional deterioration can lead to a cycle of self-criticism, where the victim blames themselves for not being able to make the narcissist happy. The emotional impact is not just a matter of self-esteem, it can also affect physical health. Studies show that the ongoing stress associated with toxic relationships can lead to health issues such as depression, anxiety, and even physical ailments. The body and mind are deeply interconnected, and this connection becomes evident when discussing the consequences of narcissism. It serves as a warning for all of us. Mental health is a priority and should be treated seriously, especially in the context of abusive relationships. Awareness of the impact of narcissism in our lives is the first step toward change. When we recognize the effects that these relationships have on us, we can take steps to protect ourselves. Setting boundaries, seeking support, and prioritizing our mental health are essential measures. After all, no one should live in the shadow of another person, especially when that person lacks empathy or respect for those around them. Signs of manipulation. Gaslighting is a term that has gained notoriety in recent years and not without reason. This emotional manipulation technique is one of the most insidious that a narcissist can employ. The concept is simple but devastating. The manipulator makes the victim doubt their own perception of reality. This can happen in various ways, from denying that certain events occurred to distorting facts in a way that confuses the victim. The narcissist in this way establishes even greater control over the dynamics of the relationship. For example, imagine you have an argument with your narcissistic partner about a specific event that occurred. Instead of acknowledging their actions, they might claim that you are exaggerating or that the situation never happened. Over time, this constant denial can make you start questioning your own memory and perception. This manipulation can lead to a state of insecurity where the victim feels lost and unsure of whom to trust. The narcissist then positions themselves as the savior, further reinforcing the control they exert over the victim. Furthermore, gaslighting is not limited to a single discussion. It is a pattern that repeats over time. The narcissist can use this technique to completely destabilize the victim's perception of reality, making them feel incapable of making decisions or trusting their own judgments. This destabilization can have severe emotional consequences, such as anxiety, depression, and a profound sense of inadequacy. The victim, constantly doubting themselves, may end up isolating themselves even more, believing that no one will understand them. Recognizing the signs of gaslighting is crucial to breaking this cycle of manipulation. There are some strategies that can help in this process. One of them is practicing self-care and validating one's own emotions. Talking to trusted friends or seeking professional support can help restore perspective and confidence in oneself. Additionally, keeping a record of events and feelings can serve as an anchor, helping the victim remember reality, even when the narcissist tries to distort it. Finally, gaslighting is a powerful reminder of how emotional manipulation can be a devastating tool in the wrong hands. By recognizing the signs, we can better protect ourselves and, if necessary, seek help to escape toxic relationships. No one deserves to live in a constant state of doubt and insecurity, and awareness is the key to regaining control over our lives. Devaluation and minimization of emotions. One of the most harmful behaviors associated with narcissism is the tendency to devalue and minimize the emotions of others. This devaluation can occur in various ways, from subtle comments that undermine personal achievements to the outright denial of others' feelings. The narcissist can do this so subtly that often the victim does not immediately realize what is happening. Over time, however, this devaluation becomes an open wound, eroding the self-esteem and confidence of the person. When a narcissist minimizes someone's emotions, they essentially invalidate that person's experience. For example, if you share happy news, such as a promotion at work, a narcissist might respond with indifference or even a disparaging comment like, "Oh, that's not a big deal. I always knew you could do it." This reaction not only diminishes the importance of your achievement, but also creates an environment where you feel insecure about expressing your emotions. Over time, the victim may begin to feel as if their experiences are not worthy of celebration or recognition. Devaluation is not limited to moments of joy. It can also manifest during times of pain or sadness. When the victim tries to express their concerns or frustrations, the narcissist may respond with disdain, making comments like, "You're exaggerating. It's not that big of a deal." This denial of signs of manipulation. Gaslighting. One of the most insidious aspects of narcissistic behavior is gaslighting. For those unfamiliar with the term, gaslighting is a form of psychological manipulation where the manipulator distorts reality, causing the victim to doubt their own perceptions and memories. It's as if you are living in a world where your experiences and feelings are constantly invalidated. A narcissist may use this technique to maintain control over their victim. creating an environment of confusion and uncertainty. I recall a situation where a friend of mine who was in a relationship with a narcissistic woman began to question his own sanity. She frequently told him that he was overreacting or that he didn't remember things correctly. "Do you really think I said that? That never happened," she would say, always with a seemingly calm tone. He started to believe that the faults were his, not hers. This type of manipulation is cruel and can lead the victim to a state of extreme vulnerability. To identify gaslighting, it's important to pay attention to some signs. If you often feel confused or insecure about your own memories and feelings, that may be a sign that you are being victimized by this manipulation. Other red flags include feeling like you are always apologizing for your reactions or that you constantly need to justify your emotions. A narcissist will make you believe that your reality is distorted and that your emotions are irrational. A classic example of gaslighting is when the narcissist refuses to validate the victim's feelings. If you express sadness or anger, and the narcissist responds with criticism or disdain, this is a way to destabilize your emotions. It may seem like you are being overdramatic or exaggerating, when in fact your reactions are valid and deserve attention. The aim here is to make you feel small, insignificant, and incapable of trusting yourself. Recognizing gaslighting is the first step towards freeing yourself from this manipulation. Talking to friends or seeking a therapist can help restore your perception of reality. Sometimes external validation is what you need to realize that you are not crazy and that your emotions have value. Don't let someone take your truth away from you. Devaluation and minimization of emotions. Another striking trait of narcissists is their tendency to devalue the emotions and achievements of others. This creates a toxic emotional environment where you constantly feel inferior and unworthy. This disdain manifests in various ways, from subtle comments to outright criticism. When you share an accomplishment or a significant experience, and the narcissist responds with disinterest or belittlement, this is a clear form of devaluation. Think of a situation where you receive a promotion at work, something that should be a cause for celebration. You share the news with a narcissist, hoping for support and enthusiasm. Instead, they say, "Oh, that's not that impressive," or "You just got lucky." This type of response not only diminishes your achievement, but also makes you feel small, as if what you accomplished has no value. Over time, this ongoing devaluation can erode your self-esteem. Furthermore, narcissists often minimize your emotions. If you feel sad or frustrated, they might respond with something like, "You're overreacting," or "It's not that big of a deal." This minimization makes you question the legitimacy of your own feelings. It's as if they are saying that your emotions are invalid or that you don't have the right to feel that way. This is extremely damaging and can lead to feelings of inadequacy and loneliness. An aspect that often goes unnoticed is that this devaluation and minimization can occur in everyday situations. A narcissist may belittle your work, your opinions, or even your hobbies. If you dedicate yourself to something you love, they might disdain that passion, making you feel foolish for caring. This creates a vicious cycle where you feel increasingly unable to value your own achievements and emotions. To cope with this type of emotional manipulation, it is essential to surround yourself with people who recognize and value your experiences and feelings. Talking to trusted friends or seeking professional support can help restore your self-confidence and remind you that your emotions are valid. Don't allow the narcissist to dictate how you should feel or what you should value in your life. Need for control and blame. The need for control is one of the most striking characteristics of narcissism, often disguised as concern. A narcissist may present themselves as someone who deeply cares about you, but in reality, this concern is a way to exert control over your life. For example, they may insist that you shouldn't go out with friends or that you should make specific choices, claiming it's all for your own good. This dynamic is insidious and can be difficult to identify. One of the most disturbing aspects of this need for control is the manipulation through blame. The narcissist often projects blame onto others, making the victim feel responsible for problems that aren't theirs. For instance, if you're facing a difficulty, the narcissist may imply that the situation is a result of your own actions or decisions. This creates a cycle of self-reproach that can be devastating to the victim's self-esteem. Recognizing these patterns of blame is crucial for protecting yourself emotionally. If you constantly find yourself wondering if you could have done something differently to avoid conflicts or problems, that's a sign you're being manipulated. A narcissist will use this technique to deflect responsibility for their own actions, creating an environment where you always feel indebted or at fault. Another form of control is the need to always be in charge of situations. A narcissist may want to decide where you go, what you do, and even how you should dress. This need for control may seem like a form of love or care, but in reality, it's a way to nullify your autonomy and your ability to make decisions for yourself. Over time, this can lead to a state of submission, where you feel incapable of asserting your own preferences. To cope with this dynamic of control and blame, it is essential to establish clear and healthy boundaries. Recognizing your worth and autonomy is fundamental to resisting the manipulation of the narcissist. Talking to people who truly care about you and can offer emotional support is a good way to restore your self-confidence. In the end, you deserve a relationship where your needs and feelings are respected and valued. Need for control and blame. When discussing the need for control that narcissists exert, it is striking how often this is disguised as genuine concern. They position themselves as if they are merely caring for the well-being of those around them, but in reality, what is at stake is the subtle manipulation that affects the autonomy of others. It's as if the person becomes an extension of the narcissist, and any decision that doesn't align with what they want is immediately questioned. This control can be exercised in everyday situations, from simple decisions like what to eat to more complex issues like career, choices, or personal relationships. A clear example of this can be seen in romantic relationships. Imagine a partner who constantly criticizes the other person's choices, from how they dress to the friendships they nurture. This criticism is often presented as advice or a form of concern, but in truth, it is a way to establish domination. The narcissist feeds on the power they have over the other's life, and this can lead to a range of self-esteem and autonomy issues. What should be a healthy relationship turns into an emotional trap, where the victim feels unable to act without the narcissist's approval. In addition to direct control, there is also the issue of blame. Narcissists are masters at projecting guilt onto their victims, making them feel responsible for problems that have nothing to do with them. It is common to hear phrases like, "If you had done this, we wouldn't be in this situation," or "You always mess everything up." These statements create a vicious cycle, where the person feels guilty for something they did not do, leading them to doubt their own perception of reality. This can be devastating for someone's mental health, causing them to internalize that guilt and believe they are responsible for everything that happens around them. Recognizing these patterns of blame is essential for escaping this cycle. It is important to pay attention to how we feel after interactions with a narcissistic person. If we often feel guilty, insecure, or unable to make decisions without the other's support, it is a sign we are being manipulated. The first step is to identify these feelings and then confront the situation. Self-assertion is a powerful tool that can help restore the sense of control over one's own life. Seeking support from friends, family, or even a therapist can be crucial in dealing with these toxic patterns. Finally, it is worth mentioning that the need for control and blame is not just an interpersonal issue, but can also affect mental health more broadly. The constant stress of living under the influence of a narcissist can result in anxiety, depression, and other emotional problems. Therefore, it is crucial for victims to recognize these patterns and seek to break free from this dynamic. The path may be challenging, but it is possible to regain autonomy and peace of mind by distancing oneself from the oppressive control that narcissists tend to exert. Projection of guilt. The projection of guilt is one of the most insidious tactics that narcissists use to maintain control over their victims. This technique is based on the inversion of responsibility, where the narcissist transfers their failures and mistakes onto the other person. What should be a healthy conversation about problems that arise in a relationship, for example, quickly turns into an interrogation where the victim feels forced to justify their actions and decisions. It's as if the narcissist is saying, "Look, you are the real reason things aren't working out." In many cases, this projection of guilt can be so subtle that the victim doesn't even realize they are being manipulated. The narcissist might use comments disguised as concern, such as, "If you really cared, you would have done something differently." Through phrases like these, the victim is led to question their own intentions and feelings. The impact of this on emotional health can be devastating. The victim begins to believe they are unworthy of love or respect, leading to a cycle of self-criticism and doubt that can last for years. A clear sign that you are dealing with a narcissist is the constant feeling that you need to apologize, even when you haven't done anything wrong. If you find yourself frequently apologizing for situations that are not your responsibility, it's time to evaluate whether the power dynamics in your relationship are healthy. This constant need to apologize is an indicator that the narcissist is using projection of guilt to maintain control over you. Recognizing projection of guilt requires a significant dose of self-awareness and critical analysis. It's important to have clarity about your own actions and motivations. A good strategy is to keep an emotional journal, where you can record your interactions and feelings. This can help identify patterns of behavior that you may not notice in real time. Additionally, talking to trusted individuals about your experiences can provide external perspectives that are often difficult to see on your own. Finally, it is essential to remember that guilt should not be a burden you carry alone. We all make mistakes, and that is part of the human experience. However, being constantly held responsible for problems that are not yours is a form of manipulation. Recognizing this not only helps protect your emotional health, but also allows you to start creating healthy boundaries in your relationships. Breaking free from this cycle of guilt can be the first step toward reclaiming the autonomy and peace of mind that have been lost under the shadow of narcissism. The need for control and the projection of blame are fundamental characteristics of narcissistic behavior, which can have a profound impact on the lives of its victims. Excessive control disguised as concern and the shifting of responsibility onto others are tactics that maintain an unbalanced power dynamic. Recognizing these patterns is essential for anyone looking to escape this emotional trap. Awareness and support from those around you are important steps toward restoring emotional health and autonomy. So, everyone, now that we've explored the signs that a narcissist may be controlling your life, I want you to take a moment to think. Have any of these situations happened to you? Did you feel uncomfortable or insecure in any relationship? It's crucial to recognize these patterns before they become a vicious cycle. Remember, your emotional and mental health is a priority. If you've identified any of these signs, don't hesitate to seek support. Talking to friends, family, or even a professional can be a big step toward regaining control of your life. And if you enjoyed this content, please like the video and share your experiences in the comments. I'm here to listen to you, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss the upcoming videos that will help you navigate these turbulent waters. Oh, and if you're curious about how to protect your emotional space, be sure to check out our video on 10 warning signs, the dangers of living with your children in old age. Together, we'll ensure you're always in charge of your own story. See you next time!